Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
What's up, friends? Welcome back to the TV Terminal. My name is Adam Vale, senior editor over at thecoalition.com, and I'm joined by
his brother, Josh Lamage, writer for the Coalition.
Damn right, there we go. Oh, man, people. Wow. A lot happening. Real quick housekeeping. We hit 100 subscribers. New channel, about a month in. We hit 100. Shout out to Natalie. She's hooking us up. She's helping us out. Friend of the channel. I was like, man, we hit 99. And all of a sudden, popping 100. There we go.
It's a good milestone.
It is. It's a good milestone. It's great considering that it's not the back end, as content creators know, and I'm sure as listeners of all the YouTube channels have heard, it was like, 70-something% of you guys are not subscribed. But that's not a fib right there, people. I see a ridiculous number when it comes to the people consuming the content and just listening or watching throughout. That's fine. We love it either way. But yeah, it's correct. A large majority are not subscribing. And I get it. You know, it's a show. You're watching it. You're like, maybe I'll watch it again. You know, for the next episode, maybe not. Maybe you don't like the original source material, the show with Last of Us, Moblin, whatever. But then you hear all this stuff going on about it. And we get it. But remember, this channel will cover a bunch of shows. So it's not just a one hit and then we're out. We got a bunch of things. We have all kinds of things planned out. And then as time goes on, as the community builds, you see, every time someone comments, I get involved in the comments. Lawrence gets involved. Maybe Josh will get involved in some of these. If anyone points anything toward him with this, we're just building this community with all these channels. Yeah. And then we plan on doing discussions. And if there's something everybody's interested in covering and watching, then we'll jump into that. But
yeah, I was going to say, if there's anything, you feel is not being represented or people aren't talking about, drop a comment or DM us or whatever.
We'll
try and cover.
There you go. Yeah, that's and I should have fixed that. The Adam Vale, that's Adam Vale over on with the ATOM Vale on Insta. Because apparently, even though I have my Adam Vale over on Twitter and a few other ones on Insta, I can't have it because there's a comedian named Adam Vale who has
it.
Stand-up comedian. Shout out to him. Hopefully he follows me. I'll follow him back, and I think that'll be funny. Who knows? But yeah, so that was quick. Thank you for that. Also, as I mentioned, covering Mobland. We just posted up episode 8. It's a 10-episode season. 2 more left. Show is crazy. And then also Murderbot. We've been covering that. Apple Plus, the new sci-fi comedy / wild thriller show. I mean, it's off the wall with some of the stuff, and I get it because it's based off of a book, a whole book series, I should say, the Murderbot Diaries. And it's funny because some of the people that have commented on the show are people that read the books, and they're just happy that not only one, it got turned into a show, but 2, that someone's actually covering it, because actually not a lot of people are. And I don't know if it's like a promotion on Apple's part or people just don't really understand what it's about.
I've heard nothing about this show.
And that's what I've been hearing. Whenever I tell anybody, I'm like, yeah, I'm covering Murderbot. And they're like, murder what?
What's
that? Hey, why are you making up stuff? What are you doing? So I was like, no. So anyway, got that on the channel. And if you're not sure about it, you can check it out and then go on Apple Plus, watch it, do whatever. They're short episodes, people, 30 minutes, 30-minute long. So they're not long out there. And it's really funny show. All right. So that's it. Housekeeping. Thank you. Like, subscribe, keep doing it. We're going to grow, keep growing. Give all the shout outs to everybody who helps out. It's fantastic. All right. Let's dive into this. What? You had something? Wow.
No. I was going to say.
Yeah. Wow. This episode, if you haven't seen it already, then shame. Right? Let's just brush out the Game of Thrones style. Shame. Ring the bell. Because this episode, people, not just for those who are watching the show, but for those that have played the game, that were like, man, if they can do this one scene, because man, this scene in the game pulled all the feels. Right? I remember playing this part from the first time I played it, then when I played it recently with the remake, and I'm like, it still brings the feels. Yeah. You get warrior, you're like, oh. Yeah, and I'm like, when we talked about it last week, we were like, I wonder if that's what they're going to go down that road this week. And they did. Oh, they nailed it. They nailed it.
You know,
I
it's funny.
mean,
It's funny because like some of my friends that are like, I don't know, they watch the show. Whenever there's an episode where it's just like mostly dialogue and stuff like that, they're like, "Oh, it's so slow." Da, 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 da. But this was like needed. This was like heavy. This was Joel coming back. You know what I mean? Flashbacks and all this stuff, and a lot of the answers that, or I mean, a lot of the questions that we had are answered here. So yeah, so the episode even before this has that, you know, that little intro beginning.
I'll
Um,
go into it.
yeah, we see a little kid worried about getting hit by getting hit with the belt. So I guess, you know, his dad is you know,
Mhm. Yeah,
an aggressive
yeah, because
father.
he didn't say too much of what happened, but it's a younger kid telling his teenager brother that he's scared he's gonna get hit. Teenager brother's like, "Hey, don't worry about it. He's not gonna hit you. It's gonna be fine. Just go to your room. I'm taking care of this."
Just like you used to do for me. Thank you.
There you go. It's like, I'll take it. I mean, hey, everybody's gotten the belt at some point. I'm just saying, and it's just the way it is. I mean, not in all households, but it wasn't to this extent. So don't get it
Yeah,
messed
don't
up.
get it
No.
twisted.
Yeah, don't think it was like, oh my God, these guys been abused. They're gonna have another show just talking about the abuse of childhood.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna tell you, The Last of Us was a trigger. It was a trigger.
I had to turn it off.
I had to
No.
turn it off.
So it's Texas, 1983.
Yeah,
We see
1983.
Joel when he's little, and his dad's a cop.
Yeah,
Jay Miller was on his name tag, so maybe I don't know if he's Joel Senior or
right? Yeah, maybe
John or whatever. It could be anything. It seems like Joel and Tommy got in trouble, and you know the dad found out about it. And it's this whole thing, and he's like, you know, if you weren't my son, you guys would be in juvie right now. And,
Yeah.
you know, he's like, please don't. Joel's really just sticking up for his brother. He's like, don't hit him. You know, don't do anything to him.
Yeah, because
And
it turns out,
yeah.
well, because it real quick, because it just jumps into the reason why is that what Tommy was buying pot. First, Joel wanted to take the blame for everything, and he's like, "No, I already know the story because of the officers that went on the scene. Right? You beat the crap out of these guys, and so that's what's going on with it. You're trying to cover up, and he's like you just mentioned, if you were my kids, you're going to juvie." But then that's when Joel was jumping. It's like, well, don't hit him, don't beat on him, and then that's when the dad gives this sad story basically about his dad, that he stole a candy bar when he was a kid. Dad made him go back to the store, give back the candy bar to the clerk. Then when he got right before he got out the car, just smacked him so hard across his face.
Punched him.
He punched him. I thought he said he slapped him.
I could have sworn you said he punched him.
Well, either way, he broke his jaw.
Yeah,
he broke his jaw, and he had a broken jaw for weeks, and that was just how he was brought up. You know, and he sort of, he gets teary-eyed on this when he's telling this story. And he's like, you know, maybe I'm a little bit too hard on you guys. That's not my intent. You know, I'm not trying to be my father. You know,
yeah. Joel's like, well, why are you even doing that? It's like, it's not as bad as what I got.
Yeah, it's not as bad.
But hurt people, right? So
yeah, I mean, and it's a form of discipline. It's a form of discipline, and you know, then, but there, sometimes some people pull away from that. They don't want to discipline their kids at all because of the abuse that they had. But he basically then tells him, and this comes back later in the end of the episode. He's like, hopefully, when you have your own, you're a better man than me.
Yeah,
you know, you do better. Really emotional. And then he starts beating on them. No, he doesn't. And he was like, yeah, you get it now.
Father.
No, you made me do this. No, but then he puts his hat on and walks out the door, and then cue the intro.
Yeah, but really quick, that whole thing sets up the entire vibe of the episode as far as parenting and dealing with, you know, this what's right, what's wrong, how do I pass off my hurt, you know?
Yeah.
So we skip ahead. We see Seth at the bar, and Joel walks in, and Seth's like, "Oh, it's the new guy." So we could tell that, you know, this is like when they first settled, and we didn't get a lot of this stuff.
This is my only complaint. This is my only complaint of this episode, because later on we get all the timestamps. 1 year later, 2 years later, 3, 9 months. Why didn't they say that? Even at the beginning of the episode, it said 1983. We get no timestamp for this section here. Why did they forget that? They should have just said a timestamp of like, but I guess he does mention
Joel himself is the timestamp.
I guess, yeah.
And then him saying like, "Oh, hey, new guy," you know. And it's funny because Seth is like, "Oh, I used to be a cop," and you see Joel's face like, "Huh."
Yeah, Milwaukee PD. Yeah. I thought he was going to bring it in, but bad memories.
And Joel asked, like, you know, can you make what I need? and hands him a bag of Legos, which was really
Nice.
cool. I was like,
I
let's
I knew
go.
you probably exactly.
I was
You and
happy.
your
I love
By the
Legos.
way, have you put together that Black Panther that you picked up
Oh
last year?
no,
No, of course
I'm
not.
just collecting everything.
That wasn't cheap either. You were like, I gotta get this. Oh, I'm gonna put this
Oh,
together.
it's gotten worse, man.
Oh
But
no, that's a whole other
hey,
show.
look,
We'll talk about
yeah,
that.
we'll talk about that.
Yeah, the hoarder episode.
No, no,
There
collecting,
we
man,
go.
collecting. Change it up. Um, so yeah, so they trade, and Steph's like, all right, vanilla or chocolate? Please say vanilla because it's a lot easier. So
Well,
Joel's like,
I
vanilla?
but I also thought the reason why he said this because, like he said, it was going to take time for the chocolate, and I figured maybe to get the ingredients like cocoa or beans or whatever
Well, he
to
needs
make
it
it.
by the next day. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
last
yeah.
minute
So it's
kind of
not going to
thing.
happen last minute thing.
And so
Hmm.
so now we cut to this scene where Joel
Oh
is
wait, let me see.
yeah, no, you're on it. You're on it right now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. See, I'm flipping back and forth. So
Hmm.
just let me know when it's time to flip.
Got you. No, so yeah, so Joel's working on a custom guitar. Or I guess he found like pieces of a guitar and he's remaking it, or
People, please, if you're familiar with this process now, my daughter plays the guitar. We have two guitars. I see
I'm a
them in the house.
music teacher.
You're a
Guitars
music
all the time.
teacher. There's guitars all around. Maybe you know, but I don't think you've actually built one, right?
I've never built no,
There
never
you
built an
go. So,
instrument. That'd
people,
be
if
cool.
you're out there, if you've built one, can you do it within this amount of time? Because it looks like the way they do all this, he does it in one day, right?
I feel like it could be a one day thing. I mean,
Could
because
it?
he's not like carving the whole thing like from scratch. He's just fine tuning it.
I
So
guess. I mean,
so
you see him doing
he
the carving and doing,
yeah.
so I don't know.
The carving was sick, and that he was able
Oh,
to
yeah.
do it like that. That was cool.
Yeah, I
And
loved how they filmed this whole scene. It's just it pulls you in nice close-up shots, just showing the neck of the guitar and him pulling the strings together and tuning
you never
it.
think about that process. Like you just buy the instrument, and you're like you're maintaining your own instrument, but you don't think of like all that hard work that
Oh
goes
yeah,
into
yeah.
making that beautiful
Craft.
instrument. So that was sick.
Uh-huh.
So then Joel goes up to talk to Ellie. No, Joel's walking around, and we hear commotion. Someone's coming in. It's Tommy walking in with
No,
Ellie.
no,
No,
not in this one. Because remember, this is when she's young. So then there is no commotion. He goes up there, and then that's when he presents it. He's like, "Hey, it's your birthday. Come on down." And then he shows the cake, and he's upset because it's vanilla
no,
and it's a happy birthday
no,
15.
not just yet.
Not just yet. What
No,
did
no,
I miss?
yeah. So Ellie runs upstairs. Tommy's there with her, and he's like,
Oh yes,
she
that's
burned her
right.
arm. Yeah,
That's right.
she burned her arm, and so they show, and they've talked about it before, like how she said that she burned her arm and stuff, purposely. Tommy obviously, is like, yeah, she burned herself. Joe sits down with her, and he's like, why would you do this? And you can see like his instinctual like father vibes pick up, and he's like, like, why did you do this and that, are you okay? And he's looking at her arm, and then you see in his eyes like, okay, like he's understanding.
There's
And
a
so
key moment here. He says,
yeah,
"Baby girl." I remember that was what he
yeah,
called his daughter Sarah. He's called
oh
baby
yeah,
girl.
100%. Because
Yeah. So
there's a little
it's
bit of disillusionment, I think, on Joel's end, but also he has love for her,
oh yeah, yeah.
and so, but yeah, so then so they go downstairs, and then that's when the cake,
And
and
it's
he's
screwed up. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it says Eli.
Yeah, it
That's
says
funny.
Eli. That was the whole thing, right? It's like, all right, well,
It is funny because in my notes after that, I wrote Eli grabs the cake with their hands, and I'm like, wait,
no, right.
oh man,
It's pretty cool because also we don't know too much about Ellie's past with
that's
just growing
true.
up. We don't know if she's
Anything.
had birthday parties or if this is the first time she's ever had something like this.
No.
All
Yeah.
right,
So this is when she was burned.
yeah,
So
yeah. She was burned. She's sad.
she's playing it off well. She's like, yeah, ow, like,
Yeah,
like, yeah, it hurts, but like,
but she did it on purpose,
I
as we
wanted to wear
know
long sleeves, short sleeves.
from the last episode. The whole point of covering up a bite. Remember, that was the whole reason why she burnt. She told Dina because
Smart.
yeah. But you're thinking that he doesn't know this?
No, he knows, but his reaction at first is like, wait, why did you do it? Because he's really just worried about her and her getting hurt. And then when I guess he processes exactly what it is, when she says, hey, I want to wear short sleeves again, he's like, okay, I get it. You don't want this to be known and seen.
Couldn't
it's
she
interesting.
just say it was a dog bite? It was like, oh,
But
Rover over there
at
went
this point,
nuts. We were playing.
everybody knows that specific fight, the bites. You know what I mean? That it has to be a thing that people see. They know it has a certain
Yeah,
look to it.
I guess. Well, the only reason why I'm second guessing all of that is because obviously she hasn't turned. She's not infected. She didn't turn into one of the infected running around. So why would someone even think that it must be a bite? Because they're
Maybe
like,
they'll
well,
think it's new or something. I mean,
okay,
obviously you wouldn't see
I
the
get
blood,
it.
but
I,
you know.
yeah,
But then
it is
that's the
what it is.
question, and then you go down that rabbit hole again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Ellie's having the cake. She literally just grabs it with her hands to eat it, and Joel's like, "I got something for you."
Yeah. Yep. Well, it was right before this one. It was here with the guitar.
Yeah. And she's like, "Oh, you got to sing something."
Where is it?
Go back. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, "You got to sing something." He's like, "Oh, no." And she's like, "It's my birthday, man. Like, sing something."
That's what I forgot. I was gonna look it up. I'm sure people in the comments, if you know this song, because they're all famous songs.
Oh,
I don't think he created this song. Right?
no. It's Future Days by Pearl Jam.
No, it's not.
That's
Really?
what it said. Yeah, that's what it said on the captions.
Oh, that's right. You watch
Maybe
the captions.
Yeah, maybe it's like a different rendition of it.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, it definitely is. I didn't pick it up. I mean, we've heard other versions of the Aha Take on Me. I picked that up instantly, but hey, fine. I mean, it didn't sound bad.
It was cool because this is the song that Ellie was gonna sing in the theater.
Yeah.
She
And
was
she
about
got
to. She
choked
said
up.
that 1st line, yeah. So it was a nice little answer to that, and then after he sings it, she's like, "Well, that didn't suck." So
Yeah.
it was nice.
See, it's really cool how just with the dialogue and the delivering of the lines, where yes, it's a sentimental, it's an emotional part of the episode, the storytelling, and then she throws in the comedy. So then while you're getting the feels, like, oh man, and it's like, oh, that didn't suck. Okay. It's like, and she lightens the mood. She's always doing that,
Which is great.
But, yeah.
Testament to her character. And then Joel says, "I understand why you burned your arm." This is when he like admits it here.
Yeah.
They share a little moment. And then screen goes black. And then 1 year later, Joe and Ellie are walking across the stream. So we could skip ahead.
All right, let's go. Boom.
Yeah, here we go. So Joe and Ellie are walking across the stream. It's her birthday again. So everything here is just, following the timeline of her birthday.
Now this is also, I wrote down this scene for scene, word for word from the comics. I mean, from the game. It's just the whole thing of what she's guessing, what's out there, what's birthday present. If it's
is
a
it a dinosaur?
Yeah, dinosaur.
So spot on. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I thought at that point, even in the game, I thought maybe it's got to be something cool that they're going to an actual place. And when it does show, it would have been great if he said, "Well, I didn't say no to the dinosaur." Well, he sort of did. He said no to all this. Like, no, don't worry.
No, dinosaur. Yeah, you'll see. But then they walk, and she's talking about wanting to go on patrol. So you could see like the whole idea of like her really just wanting to be in the action. Because she was so used to like traveling with Joel and being.
I mean, there was way too much action during those travels. That was a life or death situation. He was trying to get her to the Fireflies. They were coming across, you name it, out there. It was dangerous.
And now she's bored.
Well, now she's bored. I get it. And she even throws up. Well, Jesse at 17 was able to go patrolling and all this stuff. And then he throws in a comment, "Well, I see how you two are together." And she was like, "No, I don't think you do. You're off on this one." And then that's when she throws in. She's like, "How about this? I guarantee I won't get pregnant if I'm allowed to go on patrol."
It's a win-win for her.
Yeah, win-win, right? Exactly. Right. But
so they keep walking, and then she finds a T-Rex statue covered in like vines and stuff. She goes to climb it. Joel again, like, no, like don't, being assertive, being protective. And
did you jump off? I jumped off. I don't know if you can in the game. They give you an option to jump off. I jumped off, but I know
it was so long ago.
Yeah, but I know there was an option to go.
Watching
back
this has made me want to play it again. So maybe
yeah. So I dived off, and I mean nothing happens. You go in, you dive, and then you just swim back up, and that was it. But it was a cool moment. But yeah, then for the point is that when she gets to the top, she can see that there's a museum, and she's like, "I see the museum," and he's like, "Yep, this is it. Here we go."
And so they go to the museum, and in the game, this was so cool. I wish they would make like a video game of like a museum or something like that. That would be so sick. just like walking around a museum and observing
I
things.
feel like I've seen. Well,
There's probably is.
museums have had that. I could have swore a museum of natural history at one point
Museums. No,
had like
museums.
a virtual walkthrough, but you had to pay
That'd be
for it,
cool.
and then you do that. You actually almost like a Google Maps type of style, like press forward, and you're moving. You turn
Yeah.
left, and you see a painting that's actually there.
No, I think it would be sick if they made a video game with like different art from different museums around the world, and people could walk around and like look at the things and learn stuff. I mean, I don't know. Today's generation kids are, lacking patience, but hey, but this was sick. And so they walk in. She sees the solar system. I don't know if she's ever seen this stuff before. Hopefully she has, but
yeah, she doesn't bring that up, and that's one thing I was expecting for her to say, like, "What's this? What is that big thing in the middle?" Like she hasn't gone to school, right? She doesn't know any of that
That's the
stuff.
sun.
She grew up when the world fell apart.
Well, bringing a Seraphite in here would have been crazy.
Oh man, yeah, right. It's like, whoa. It's like, oh,
is that her in the middle?
Could this be her? Yes, is this it? Going nuts.
But and there's a little comment here. She turns the thing, and then the planet's moving, and she's like, wow, it's like this thing is still good. It's like someone just oiled it up or like fixed it up recently.
Yeah, that's what he said. He was like, yeah, somebody just came in and greased it up. It's like, yeah, I mean, he's been prepping this, and she even said, "It's like, how long did you know about it?" He said a while, but he was waiting for the right time to bring.
Joe's cool. I like how he like plans things, and it's cool because if you think about the first season where he didn't really care about doing anything for his own birthday, and his daughter put in that extra thought, and his daughter went out and got his watch fixed. It's that idea of like that extra care to make the day better,
and he's still wearing it. We saw that in the scene when he was crafting the guitar. You can see it on his wrist. He still had it on,
cracked and all.
Yeah, memories.
So
my daughter made me a bracelet over a year ago, her first creation. I still wear it. I still have it on. Yeah.
Shout out to
shout out to Olivia. There we go. All right, so let's see. Let's go to the next one, because this is oh man, this was it.
So they walk into this room, and they see, what was it? They said it was the Apollo 15 shuttle.
1951. Yeah, the capsule. It went to space.
Was it 1970 something? It was 1970.
Sure, I could have switched it
1970 something. 1972.
Screwing up. You would think I would know this too, because big into it.
My note game is on point, Adam.
Yeah, yours is. See, because I'm not even, because I'm flipping through the slides and I'm trying to flick through and I'm losing spots.
Yeah, I have it. Yeah, okay. So Apollo 15 shuttle. Because we didn't even go to the moon until like the 60s.
No. Yeah, no, this was not the moon. This was just going into space, breaking the atmosphere. And I was like, oh, wow, we can do this. All right, let's come back.
But he was like, this was the first one that landed and came back. Like, I don't know. But it went up and down. I guess I don't know. I forgot what he said exactly. But yeah, so they walk into this room, and in the glass is all astronaut outfits, the helmets from different years. And yeah, Joel gives Ellie a rock, and he's like, you need a helmet.
Yeah, because she opens up the hatch. She wants to go in. It was like, yeah. He's like, no, you can't go to space without a helmet. I was like, oh, okay. And again, this is also from the scene. I remember doing it, and I was upset, very upset after this, because I wanted to keep that helmet. I was like, can I run around with this helmet on?
Oh my
God. This would, think about it. This protects you from being attacked. This would be almost like a cheat code.
Yeah, you would think like wear like a mesh, like an armor, like a knight armor. In the arms or something.
At least with the helmet. I was like, once I picked it up, I'm like, oh, this is great. This is going to be in my inventory. And no, when the whole scene is done, she chucks it on the ground and just leaves it. I was
Good thing, because that would have been absolutely hilarious.
Oh, man. Yeah, I would have loved it. And there are alternate outfits that you can get, but it's all cosmetic. None of them actually impact the game. But
so they go into the shuttle, and Joel's sitting with her, and Ellie is being a kid. Let's go back to that. Yeah, she's being a kid. She's imagining she's like switching the switches and stuff, and then Joel's like, here, takes out a cassette tape. She has her a Walkman,
and taking it back.
Yeah, and she puts it on, and I love how they filmed this, because I was like, okay, like what are they gonna do with this? And she puts on, and I'm thinking, is it gonna be music? Like, what's it gonna be? And it's like takeoff and 10 minus.
Yeah, it's an audio of the launch. And he even said, he was like, this was hard to find. And I'm like, he probably
Where did
found
he
it at the museum.
find it?
At the museum. Think about it. It was probably somewhere there. Because if you ever been, you've been to a bunch of museums. You know,
Oh,
when
yeah.
you walk to certain exhibits, you'll hear sometimes the audio playing to build the atmosphere. It was like, oh, this is the sound of the jungle, and
That's
this
cool.
is the
Yeah. So
sound.
he like went
You know,
into a backspace and found
so
it.
yeah, so I'm thinking he went into that area there, found the tape that they were playing, because I'm sure you press a button and then
I mean,
that's what you would hear.
I miss things like that. Now it's like scan the QR code and
Oh
play your
yeah,
phone and
play on the phone, get that. Put your
but
earbuds in, walk around like a
but it was cool
jabroni.
because she
No
closes her
thanks.
eyes and you don't see space, you don't see anything, but you just see the lights, the shaking, everything, and then
A
it's
Kool-Aid smile on her face. Oh man.
and then the light of the sun, like them like spinning in orbit. You know what I mean? Like it was so
Oh yeah,
cool.
yeah.
It was cool.
It
And
was
then
great. That
she's
was a
back.
great moment. And he was like, "Did I do good?" And she was like, "This is amazing," and it is. I mean, this is like the ultimate present, especially in this situation. And considering, like, we know about this stuff from school. I'm assuming she didn't have any schooling, so all this must be like really wow,
They
mind
had like
blowing.
because she was in like a colony or something. So she said that they had some kind of program, but yeah, this must be so.
Yeah, because
I
they were
mean,
learning.
for anybody on it, like yo, we'd never be able to touch something like this in a museum. Like it's
Oh
such a cool.
no. We get kicked out. We get kicked out. But unless you go to the space one over in Florida, I think that
My
one
my
you
friend was
can.
so shot. He walked onto it, like he walked into an exhibit in Boston, in Massachusetts. Like I don't know what made him think he could do that.
He just
And the
walked in.
security was like, "Get out! Like, what are you doing?"
Oh,
Yeah, it was so embarrassing. I don't know why. He
the only thing that concerned me with this section here, and it's just a personal thing, I wouldn't do this, is when Joel closed the hatch. When he closed the hatch, I'm like, what if that doesn't open? This is super old. What
I
if
didn't
it
even think
locks up?
about that.
Right?
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
yeah, you can open it from the outside, but how do you know you could open it from the inside?
Roll the credits. It's over.
Yeah, exactly. They get stuck. It's over. Who knows they're
At
there?
least they won't get
Maybe
bit, I guess.
yeah, they won't get bit, but then they eat each other because they're dead. What's gonna happen? It'll be horrible.
That
It'll
would
be a
be
whole other
crazy.
show. Yeah, but that's the only part. That's me just getting worried about things. I would not have closed that hatch. I would have
That's
left it
a
open.
very good observation.
Yeah,
That's
would have
great.
left it open. Okay.
But so they walk out. Oh, but before they walk out, they cut back to Joel looking at Ellie, and you could kind of see like a like a tear, like low key,
Oh
like
yeah.
sliding down his face. So like,
What are we
it's
getting
just
there?
in just a sec. Yeah, well, we could go to this one. So as they're walking out, though, they're walking through the trees and everything, and Ellie stops and she's just staring at something, and Joel just looks at her and he's like, "Everything okay?" And Ellie's like, "Yeah," and she walks back with him, and I'm wondering like, okay, is it a body? Like, what is she looking at? And the camera pans, and it's just fireflies, like actual fireflies, just like floating around, and it's just that moment of that initial like,
That reminder.
yeah, which was
Yeah.
that was brilliant. That was really cool. And then another year, Ellie's 17th birthday. Joel has a chocolate cake, so he planned it ahead of time, I'm assuming. Or
Oh yeah. Well, it took time. Yeah, got that squared away. He was like, all right, and we see the age, right?
yeah, and we hear Ellie laughing, and Joel is holding. I think he's holding the cake or he's holding something, but he comes upstairs. He runs upstairs.
Oh, wait a minute. I think I messed up. I was like, yeah, it's now she's 17.
Yeah, now she's 17.
Because
Yeah,
she was
before she was
16
16.
before she was 16, and then she was talking about when she had
Jesse
17.
was
Okay.
16.
Yep, Jesse. Yep.
So he bangs on the door and then just like immediately opens it, and we see Ellie on a bed with I guess that girl that she used to date.
Kat? I think that was her name.
Her name
Was that Kat?
And they're like buttoning up their clothes, and they're like in the middle of the moment, and Joel's like, "What is going on here?" And he's looking around the room. He finds like a joint that's like in the ashtray, still semi lit. He sees like everything, and he's like, "You're doing every rebellious teenage thing
And
all in one
tattoo.
day."
Yeah, remember she
And
got
the
a tattoo.
yeah.
Yeah, Kat does everything. She's hooking up. She's a good time, I guess.
She got the weed, she got the tattoo gun.
Doesn't matter what's going on in the world. And you know what? It makes sense. Everything is horrible. Their life
She did a great
has to be
job.
hard. Yeah.
That tattoo could have been complete garbage.
Oh, it could have been. It could have been. Could have
Like
been
a stick figure.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? We don't know. Maybe she has a shop in town.
I would hope so. She's an apprentice.
There you go.
But yeah, no, Joe's pissed. Joe's like, he's
He's
like, what is this? What's this? And then he's like, and then at this point here with a girl,
right. You're experimenting. That's the key there. You're experimenting now with a girl. And it's like, no, what do you mean? No,
not experimenting.
Yeah, like no. This is not. No. He doesn't want to hear it. He's like, we'll talk again when you're back to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just in denial of the whole situation.
Then it cuts and it's a storm, of course, because there's always a storm when something's going on. And Ellie's like, she's restless. She gets up, she goes into the garage, and she's thinking to herself. She comes back up. Joe hears a bunch of commotion.
Is that the next one?
Yeah, and he comes in. He's like, "What are you doing?" And she's trying to move her mattress through the door. And he's like,
"Why do that during a storm?" Because I think from the layout, maybe. I don't know if it's connected to the point that she can just drag it down the stairs and maybe it connects to the garage, or does she have to go through the actual garage door?
I would assume because like when she walks, like later on when she walks to her room, to the garage, like she just passes Joe.
Okay, so then there is a path. There is a path. So she didn't have to go outside.
No. I'm saying like she had to go outside.
Oh, so she had. So then this makes no sense. Who does that? Who moves a mattress? I understand if you're upset.
Well, because she's upset. She wants to get out of there. Like it's like arguing with the parent and being like, I gotta get out of the house, and you jump through a window or something. Like it's just she wanted to dip, and she was restless because she's feeling like she has no control, no personal space. Joel comes in. He's like, "What are you doing? This is my house."
Well, yeah, and she was like, "No, this isn't your house. You didn't buy it. It's our house. They gave it to us." So none of this is anything. Yours. Yeah, nobody does actually in this town.
And in that moment, Joel like stops, and there's a lot of like combativeness, but then reflection in Joel in this episode, where it's like he's extending his hand and pulling it back, and he's thinking to himself like,
he's catching himself. He's catching himself with stuff, and that's hey, that's part of parenting. I'm a parent. There's certain things I'll say and do, and then I'll think back, and I was like, all right, like. Let me put myself in the kid situation because I was at that point at some point a kid. So he gets it and he's like, maybe you do need your space. He's like, we'll do this. Let me fix it up for you. Let's give some time. I'll fix it up, make it livable. Because before he had said there was no heat or electricity or something like that, right? Yeah. There's nothing really in there. It's just like space. So he's willing to set up for her.
And then if you skip to the next photo,
okay,
he decides to like look at her tattoo and like actually appreciate it. And he's like, well, this is actually pretty nice. Like it's a better drawing than what I carved into your guitar. And he's holding her arm, and you could tell that he's and I guess you'll experience this with your kids.
Oh, my daughter wants to get sleeves. She's got plans.
But not only that, it was just like this meaningful connection of him trying to talk to her and have a moment with her, and her dismissing it. Not like totally dismissing it, but saying like, "Hey, it's getting late. I gotta go to bed." Like that feeling of I don't know, because when you're a kid and you're doing that to your parent, you don't realize it. I guess your our mom is trying to talk to us, and we'll be like, I gotta do this. Sorry, like, but he's lonely. It seems like he's kind of lonely. He's looking for family. He misses her, and he asks what's the deal with the moth.
Yeah, the moth, right? Because that's a tattoo. And she was like, oh, it's just something that she's reading. She's looking into it, symbolism and all this stuff. And
change and growing.
Yeah, like, that's what he says, change. And I think he's mixing it with a butterfly.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that gets answered in the next slide because he goes to speak to Gail about this. And it's funny. She's like, what am I, like Lucy in the Peanuts? Like I have like a doctor's sign around my neck that you could just talk to me all the time.
Yeah. See, and I get it. This is her time. They're like in a diner hanging out. She doesn't want to talk work.
He's like, do you guys, deal with symbols and signs and things like that? And she's like, some of us do, but yeah.
Yeah, but not that's not for
witchcraft. Exactly. But moths are symbols of death, which is tripped me out because I had a moth in my room yesterday and I like smacked it to oblivion.
And that's why it's a symbol of death. You kill it. There you go. Thanks. There you go, murderer.
Murder.
Yeah, killing the moth. And that's why it's a symbol, because when you see it, you want to kill it.
Shout out to the moth, though. We're still talking about you.
right, there we go.
Um,
But remember, this is all her going in for her curiosity because he doesn't volunteer any of this information. He just says, what is it? What does it mean? And then she says, whatever, you're thinking of a butterfly of, the whole change and all this stuff. And then she stays quiet. And she's like, yeah, well, the moth, that symbolizes death.
could that be related to some idea where Ellie feels that she cheated death in the sense?
Yeah, yeah, she definitely does because it comes up later on when she was like, you took that from me.
Yeah.
Because remember, she was ready in season 1. She had a feeling. She was like, you know what? They're going to need to do something. I know they said some stuff, at least the Firefly that she's with, that they were going to do some testing on her. And if this helps make the world a better place, comes up with a cure, she's okay with it. Remember, she was okay with it. She was like, that's my purpose. It's Joel that's not okay with it. Yeah, it's a sacrifice.
That's valiant.
Yeah, and she wants to, then Gail was like, wants to know more info. Why? And he just gets up and walks out.
And so if you cut to the next one, and even after this one, there's a lot of these.
Oh, I didn't realize there was so many.
So then we see Ellie looking and talking, and she's asking questions about the whole situation with Joel and the Fireflies. And she's like, why did you do it? What, was there a cure? And I'm like, wow, she's talking to him here. And then Joel bangs on the door and he's like, you ready to go? So she was like planning on working towards it. So
she's writing down all these things. Like she wants to get answers. Now, the question I have is, if you were in this situation, would you be dwelling on it? I don't think I would. I think at this point, I was like, you know what? What's done is done. I get it. I mean, it's pretty obvious. He cares about her and wants her to have a life. Unless she hates her life right now,
like I would
that's the only thing. You would?
I
All right,
would
people in the
dwell
comments, go ahead. Would you dwell on this? But
because it's a circumstance of like, this is a different life and things could have been different, possibly. This is okay, like having a cure for something that could change the entire world, and it's only you, as far as you know. You know what I mean? And now you're feeling like, well, because she could die in some meaningless way at some point. You know what I mean? Like this gave her a purpose as well, but it also was something that could have been a game changer for everyone. And Joel took that away from her, and then took that away from their universe. There,
Or maybe they can go look for some more doctors and see if they can figure something out.
Who knows?
Yeah,
that'd be cool. So so they go on patrol. Her wish came true. And is it another year?
This was I think 2 years. They were 19. Wasn't this it?
18. Was it 18?
Was it 18? I could have swore 18, 19.
I know she was 17 the year before. So
it was 17. Yeah, maybe this was it. Yeah, 18.
Yeah, this has to be 18. It's her birthday again. Yay! Now we're going on patrol. I think it's her birthday.
I'm pretty sure. Well, either way, they're out.
I don't know. No, I don't think it's her birthday because no one says anything about her birthday.
No, they don't say anything about it. But he just says he's ready for it, and he's like, "Come on, let's just go."
It's some months later. I think it was some months later after that last whole interaction. So they go out on patrol. He's teaching her the ropes. He's like, wear the binoculars, look through them. She's like, why do I have to do this? He's like, this is protocol. We stand by our partner. This and that.
She looked around. She's like, "Oh boy, I see a little squirrel going at it with a bigger squirrel." He's like, "We need to call this in."
Then he gets a call on his walkie-talkie. He's like, "Oh, we got some infected over here. We need you." He's like, "Ellie, go back home." She's like, "I'm not going back home, man. Like, I'm your partner. I'm not your daughter, Joel."
Yeah, and in this moment, I think that's what she was saying. Because at first I was like, whoa, you're coming a little strong here. I'm not your daughter. You're not the boss of me. But I think she was trying to say, we're partners now. Once I come out here, because remember, when it was time to go out, he was like, bring your gun. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
So
and then they climb down the mountainside, and I want your thoughts on this. There's a lot of shots of their feet, like they're stepping on stuff, and I was wondering, like, are they trying to allude to like possibly stepping on the cordyceps? Like,
I think so. That's what it looked like on the ground. It looked like that's how they knew they were in that territory. That they could be anywhere. They could come out of the ground now. They could come around. This is their territory, and that's why he was like, stay on high alert. And it made sense because that call was from the base of operations that said, hey, there's a unit that's nearby that's in trouble. You're the closest.
Yeah.
So can you respond?
And so, and especially when you're doing patrols, it seems like you have to know the lay of the land. So you have to know your way around, which comes back around in just a moment. But they're looking around. They hear infected or something happening in the distance, and then we see a horse coming and some guy or somebody being dragged by the horse.
Yeah, that's not good.
Wild.
It's never good. No. And it was like, all right, well, but he doesn't react too crazy to it. That's Joel. He's like, all right, yeah, we see
it's
that.
just another day. Just another
That's
Tuesday.
the way things are. And he's like, get ready.
And then they stumble across somebody standing by a tree.
Oh yeah, God.
And it's
Finally,
Eugene. We got our
Eugene.
answer.
Not the one from The Walking Dead. A different Eugene. This is Gail's Eugene.
This actor looks familiar. I don't remember his name, but I could have sworn I've seen him in some stuff.
I'm sure we have. Yeah, but he pops up. There we go. He was out there, and the first question Joel has for him is like, "Are you okay? You've been bit? Anything?" And he lifts up his jacket on the left side.
Yeah,
It's a little minor one, nothing too bad.
Look at this. Look at the bite mark. Like literally, it's like a. Yeah. Okay. So pointing, in fact, like it has such a distinct look to it.
Yeah. No, it is what it is, and so there's no hiding that. And I guess
it bit through his shirt. Do you think it just
it took a chunk? Because he even asked, "Are there any more around?" It's like, no, everybody's dead. Everything is dead. It's just me. It's just me. And he's ready to put him down. Joel's like, all right, well, you know how this goes. And he's like, no. Take me back. He's like, take me back to go see Gail.
Wait, count. Raise out your hand, count. Which is what I guess she learned with the, with
the testing. That's how they know to know if they're infected and the whole thing. Because we see that before she did that. Was it an episode back? Maybe episode 2 episodes back with Dina. When Dina was going to put her down, remember? And it's like, no, look, I'll put my hand out. You see, I'm not shaking. Everything's fine. Yeah, it's good. And I guess for certain people, there's a turnaround time. Some probably faster than others. We don't really know that window, but it looks like that test pretty much says what that window is. And it looks like he has time, at least according to Ellie, he has time. So she looks at Joel and says, "Hey, come on, let's do this."
Because he wants to see Gail. He's like, He's like, I need to see Gail. There's a lot of things I have to tell her. There's things that I haven't said, that I just want to tell her. She's like, "Yeah, Joel, please, can we take him back?" And he's like, "Ellie, you know how this goes." And she's like, "Please." He has some time. And he goes, "Okay, go get the horses." And he gives her the look, and she's seen that look before.
But the thing is that even to get the horses, no, because remember they went down a cliffside.
Yeah,
so that could take 20, 30. I don't know, because she has to find a way around to get down
and then get lost in the woods.
Yeah, get lost. Right? Where's my compass? Hey, Joel,
weird.
Can you scream out so I can find you? I'm lost.
He never sees her again.
Oh no.
So she's like, "You promise?" He's like, "I promise." She goes. And he's like, "Oh, thanks, Joel." And he's like, "Stay 10 feet from me." So they're walking. And this is cool because he's like, which way do I go? Like, it's already showing that the cordyceps is already affecting him. Like, he doesn't have his sense of direction at all right now.
That's what you got from that?
I think so.
Because I don't think he knows where to go. Because remember, he's going wherever Joel leads him to where the horses are.
But at the same point, then if he knew where he came from and how to get back to Jackson, like, he would turn around and walk back that path.
We do know he's getting cold.
Yeah,
that's one of the things. He was like, I would have never guessed that you get a cold feeling. I got this cold feeling. And then
we get our of mice and men moment. He comes you just keep looking straight.
Right, keep looking straight. But it's a beautiful scene, and he even says it. It's and there was a scene way back for those who watched Walking Dead when Carol had to put down one of the kids who became a serial killer and was trying to kill other kids. Yeah, and he was like, you know what, we gotta take her down. And he's like, you know what, do me a favor, look at the flowers. Okay. And she looks at the flower and then she puts it down. She kills it down. So I got one of those type of flashbacks because he's like, wow, this looks beautiful. He's looking off in the distance. And I guess that was Joel's plan. And he even says, he's like, you have to please just let me.
It's funny because you could see that his mind is getting clouded because he literally just walks out into this path and he's just like, oh, this is pretty. And then that realization of like, oh, then he turns around and he's like, don't turn around.
Yeah. He's going to put him down right there. That's what he's going to do.
It's like, Joel, I need to see Gail. I'm scared.
Because and he said, just tell me what you want her to know. And he's like, no, it's not about that. That's what I need her to tell me.
That was so real, bro. Like that was so
Oh
like
yeah.
I'm
It's
about to die. I want to see my girl. Like I
just,
can't. Like
just let it go.
I
Yeah.
need her. You know.
You want that closure. But then Joel comes back even harder because he's like, if you really love somebody, you'll always see them. Just
Which
close
was
your
beautiful. I like that.
yeah,
I
it's
thought about
just
that. I was like, that's so true.
yeah, you'll always see them. So then he takes his glasses off,
I'm gonna live
closes
with
up,
that. That was nice.
yeah. And then he says he sees her. He sees her. And then the camera just pans back out. We don't actually see it done, but we know what happens.
We see the birds fly out.
Yeah, we see the birds.
I feel bad. Birds are always like around like that environment, and they're like, "Oh man, time to go."
Yeah, they hear the gunshots. Like, oh, not me, not me. Gotta go. Danger. You know, but
So
yeah,
Ellie
Ellie
somehow
showed them.
finds them.
Well, she probably heard the gunshot.
Oh, that'll
Yeah,
do.
that'll do it. That'll help. We're assuming she got lost, people. Because I don't know. We don't know how long it took for her to get the horse, but you know,
She's
yeah.
kind of quiet here. It's just like, well, you promised, and they drag him back. They have the rope and everything, so I guess they're used to maybe finding people out there. So
Yeah, with the
they drag him
wrapping.
back.
Yeah, they drag him back.
Just the same way that they drag Joel back. So it's kind of a foreshadowing.
And not only that, now that I look at this scene with Joel, they did a really good job of just making everybody look younger. Like I know they've already made them look older for those previous episodes. 'Cause, you know, Pedro Pascal doesn't look as old as they show him in the earlier episodes. You know, but this is more like him, but not so much.
It's the gray. It's the
it's the
skin
gray.
blotches. The sun.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
sun blotches.
But they did a good job of showing the change. You know, with their makeup department, looks cool. Looks good. He looks young.
He tells Ellie like he had to do it, and that he'll phone in and he'll speak to Gail. And so and this is him here. So they bring him back. They have the body covered. Gail walks up. She's slowly crying and breaking down. And she's like, "What happened?" And Joel looks at her and he's like, "You know, we found him bitten, and you know, he loves you. He said that he loves you, and you know, he cared about you, and he wants you to know that he wasn't scared, and and he took his own life." And which was probably the best thing for Gail to hear. And Gail hugs him, and she's like, you know, she's so sad about it. And then Ellie's like, he's lying.
He's lying.
Like,
She
rat in
spills
America.
everything.
That's
She
so awkward, bro.
spills it all. I
I'd
don't
be sad.
understand that. That I don't understand.
Because
Why
this is
spill
her.
it
This is
all?
her
Why?
calling him out on his other stuff. This is her calling him out on the fact that he's lying, and it's still to her naivety too, and her youthfulness of like knowing that circumstance there was no other option really. You know, this is what Joel's used to, but the idea I think of calling him out was, I know you, and I know that you've held things back, and don't do that right now.
The fact that she just spews everything. No, he was asking for you. He wanted to see you one last time, and Joel just shot him in the head. I'm like, oh, shh, leave that part out. But
She smacks him.
Yeah,
and now we know why she hates us.
Gail just smacks him, and Joel's just that was heartbreaking. But now we get it. Now we get it.
Swore.
You swore. You swore.
9 months later. Now we get Joel's perspective of the New Year's party. He's sitting there. He's with Tommy and his wife and the son. And Tommy, he's like, I'm gonna go put him to bed. He's like, you're not gonna wait for the midnight? He's like, no, I'll see you next year, okay? So he leaves, and I like this because what's Tommy's wife's name again?
Maria.
Maria looks at Joel and she's like, we really appreciate you. And even though you're the grumpy uncle and this and that, like we love you and like you're family, which is nice because Joel's feeling lonely right now. He's slowly just getting worse and worse because he's losing Ellie.
And that's when we hear off in the distance. That's when we hear Seth saying, "Hey, this is a family event." But now that we've heard some interactions with Seth, yeah, he definitely sounds drunk here.
Yeah,
sort of drowned. He has that tone, so it's like, oh, okay, so he's not just saying something. And sometimes people say whatever when they're drunk, so it is what it is. But yeah, we get that whole perspective because then Joel just walks over, pushes him down to the ground, and then that's when Ellie reacts the way she does, upset.
Yeah, so we get that whole shot that we saw previously, and then we get Joel sitting outside playing with the guitar on the stoop, and we see Ellie staring at him, and we've seen this scene before, and that was when we saw the cordyceps in the pipe, and we didn't really see what happens. We saw Ellie like walk away,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, why are they showing this again? And then Ellie comes back.
Yeah, that was new
That
because
was nice.
I was like, oh, nice little swerve there because I didn't see that coming, and we all assumed, like you said, that when in that episode when she sees him on the porch and then she goes off to the right, that she's going to the garage, and
Yeah.
she's just like not going to even interact with him or do anything, and then all the other stuff. But no, yeah, like you said, she gets up on the porch and starts opening up.
She's like, what do you drink? He's like, coffee. He's like, I don't want to admit what I had to trade for it, but
Damn, I love coffee. Oh man, this is like
you be
war.
trading everything.
I would sell everything. It was
Here's,
like, oh,
here's
I'm
Lucas.
like, I'm like, they were like, yo, is he a junkie? What does he need?
You
He
got
needs that
coffee
great-
greens, bro.
He got the gold greens. He's like, that poop from a monkey. I need gold beans. Oh man.
So
Oh,
she's like, I had Seth under control. Like I didn't need you back there, and I don't want you to ever try to take me off patrol again. Like start micromanaging me basically. And they're trying to have some small talk. They haven't really
Yeah.
spoken.
Mhm.
So Joel's like, is Dina your girlfriend?
I was like, no, she just kissed me. I don't know why she did that. Do you like her? It doesn't even matter. Like, don't even just want to get into that whole thing.
And then she comes out and calls Joel, right? And she calls him,
Yeah.
an a-hole, and he's like, what? She's like, you lying to me. And maybe in his mind he's like, okay, are you talking about the whole thing with Gail? But then she's like, you could see in her face, like, you lied to me. I know.
Yeah. This was an emotional scene. This was
And
this
he
was
didn't really have
big.
to speak much. It was all in his face.
Yeah, it was all in his face. He was tearing up. Fantastic acting. I'm glad they put the teardrops in the eyes to get the glossiness because that's the icing right there. Like you said, there's very little spoken word here. It's all just the facial gestures and
She was
just the
like,
movements.
I don't want you to, I'm gonna ask you a question, and I see that same face you gave me, that same face. I know that face when you told me about the fireflies. She's like, so I'm gonna ask you, and if you lie to me, we're done. Like I'm leaving. This dynamic is over. So she's like, I think I knew already, and I knew this whole time. But tell me what happened with the fireflies. I want the truth. Were there other immune people? Because he told her there were, right? So he's looking at her. No. He doesn't say no. He just
shakes his head. Then she asked about the Raiders. Were there Raiders?
Raiders.
Remember, he said the whole thing, and he shakes his head. No.
Could they have made a cure? Which, wow. I mean,
This is where I don't believe.
I would have been like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. He should have said, I don't know. But he nods his head like, yeah. How do you know that? They didn't even say, because that was his whole concern. He was like, so they can definitely make cures. Like, they don't know, but they think they can because she's the first person that they've come in contact with that is immune. So the possibilities are pretty good. But
do you think at this point that Joel didn't even, I mean, like, obviously he would want a cure, I guess, but like at this point, like his daughter was his world. And now he's living in this place where it's just like there's really kind of no point to surviving except just survival. So it's like Ellie became his world.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
that's
he even said it, and that's the next scene there that he said he would do it all over again. He has no regret because he did all of that. He killed everybody. He did it all. She was
killed
like, you did this.
Marlene.
Yeah, you killed Marlene. He's like, yeah, I did that, and the dog, and the bird. I don't care. Everything that was around
The
died.
giraffes.
It's like giraffes too. Did you see? I jumped on it like Rambo. I'm like, oh, step. He's like, no, he doesn't care. It was all about her. He was like, I just couldn't do it. I could not let you die. They said you were gonna die. I couldn't do it.
Ellie's like, my life would have mattered, Joel. And you took that from me. You took that from everyone. And Joel says, I'll pay the price.
That's it.
But
she called him selfish, and he was like, no.
Do you think it's selfish?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. Yeah, selfish, but then also he's giving her a chance at life because even though she was young and she said, well, if I have to go, I have to go. But then at least they should have told her. They should have said that.
This might be an out-of-pocket question for you, but like if you were put in that same perspective or that same situation with your own kid.
It depends if we know for sure that they can do this. And that the daughter is okay with it. Like in the earlier part in the game, there's a part where, and they'll probably get into it later. And I said I wasn't going to spoil anything, and I don't want to, but it's just because this does come up, and it is relevant. There is a part where the doctor had talked to Abby, and Abby heard about all this, and she said, "Hey, if I could do it, you could put me under. I don't care. If I could fix this, then go ahead. I'm ready to die. I'm a soldier, but I'm doing it for all of mankind." And this is it. And this is something we heard from Ellie early on. She said, "Hey, I'll do it. I don't care. If it could stop all this and bring things back to normal, then yeah, let's go do it." So maybe if she was aware, but they didn't tell her. Remember, they didn't tell her. They just told the Firefly lady, and she was like, "Can I tell Joel?" And he's like, "Why?" I was like, "All right, well, I guess." And that was a mistake. If she
You should
wouldn't
have
have
just
not,
told him, man.
yeah, if she didn't tell him and say, "Hey, they're gonna do what they can. They're gonna try to keep her alive," and the whole thing. But no, she straight out and told him, "It's like, yeah, she's gonna die. They need to get into the brain, and there's no coming back from
Which
that."
leads back to, Ellie being like, then why? Like, I know why, but like, why? And he's like, because I love you in a way that you don't understand, in a way that I don't know if you'll ever understand. And if you do one day,
And then it goes full circle. He's like, "If you have one for a kid of your own, is I hope you do better than." Same thing like what his dad had told him. Now he's telling her.
Nellie looks at him and she's like, I don't think I could forgive you. And there's a pause there. I'm like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes, but I'd like to try. And you see Joel's face like tearing, and just like, this is a moment that they needed, and this is a moment that I wasn't sure if they had.
Yeah.
And it reiterates her desire to get revenge. Because this is their bond. This is their love.
They finally he came clean to her about the situation, everything that happened, and they were going to mend their relationship, and then poof, this happens.
This is nice because I thought it was that dynamic that they didn't get to say anything. That unfortunate thing that happens sometimes where you have a loved one that you don't get to say what you wanted to say.
You don't get to say goodbye.
Goodbye. Right. I'm sorry. Whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's nice that they at least had that. Maybe that's all Joel needed in the end.
Maybe.
But and then we cut rain falling. Ellie's back at the theater, so she found her way back after this whole thing. So I think
and for those who forgot, they're like, what? Yeah, she was on her way back because now she's going to talk to everyone that's there. Tommy should be there. Jesse's there, of course. Dina, if Jesse's there, I'm assuming they're all there. Let's assume the best.
Yes,
that they're all there, and then now she just made it back. So this is where we'll see how.
So we got the season finale.
Yeah, that's right. 7 episodes, people. That's what we got for this season. So next episode is a season finale. And then who knows? We'll probably have to wait another 2 years for season 3. Now, IMDb already knows. Everyone knows. It's been confirmed this is season 3. And it makes sense for those who know the source material, because if you can't fit everything that happens, for the rest of the game in one episode, it's not happening.
Do you think it's going to be like a long? I mean, like what, next year?
I don't know. I don't even know if next episode is going to be a normal episode size. Like, what if it's a supersized episode or like an hour and a half or something?
From the preview, it looks like there's a lot of action. It looks like there's like Seraphites involved. We finally see what's his name, the leader of the WLF, or at least.
Oh, you mean Isaac?
Isaac, yeah, we see
Isaac. We see Isaac play a part. I mean, it depends on where they go. I'm not spoiling anything. It depends on what perspective, I should say, they give, because it changes. The story changes perspective and who you're following along this story. And I don't know if they're going to jump right into that. I'm assuming that's all going to be in season 3.
Yeah.
But either way, it should be entertaining. So far, I'm entertained, and I think this is like the best episode. Season. Yeah, this was. Some people for other shows don't like flashbacks or episodes dedicated to flashbacks. We've seen so many shows do that in the past. People are like, oh no, I want
this was needed. This was needed. This was needed. It answered everything.
Oh yeah,
it answered everything.
It answered everything. It answered the Eugene question, right? Who's Eugene? Well, now we know. It answered that. We answered the situation from the perspective of Joel, what he was going through, what he was dealing with. Why?
I love how they always mention things and then you see it later.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a game within a game, because
Yeah.
we're watching this, and then there's like pieces that are being dropped around, and it's like a puzzle. It's like, oh, can I put this together myself? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. We were kind of on point. Well, then also wrong with the Eugene, and I'm sure some people listening or watching this were thinking the same thing. We thought maybe he was just someone who turned right and was infected, and Joel had to put down, which is true and then not true. Yeah, because he didn't really get to that point, but. As
I
we
thought Gail
know,
at least saw it and saw him kill him. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
thought there was
yeah.
more
The
like
way
of an
she made it
involvement.
seem, was like, yeah, because she hated him for it, and I
Yeah.
thought that as well. But no,
So I guess if Ellie didn't say anything, she probably wouldn't have hated him as much.
no, she wouldn't have
Probably
hated him
still
at
would have
all.
hated him for having to do that.
Maybe, but
I
that's the
guess.
rule. Because look, Dina was going to do it
True.
in that episode. She was like pointing the gun right at Ellie. She was like, "That's it. You got bit. We know the rule. You know the rule, and the rule is you just shoot." You don't even wait because there is no cure. So it's not like, all right, lay down, let me waste some resources, bandage you up, keep you alive for an extra half hour. They don't even bother with that. They just put you down. They cut their losses. So
great episode.
Great episode. I enjoyed it. So yeah, there you go, people. Thanks. If you stuck all the way to the end, this is great. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for following.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah. And as I said again, please like, subscribe. I'll probably put a little clip here of Murderbot. That's the other show that's brand new that you could just jump into. It's short, like I said, they're half-hour episodes. If you're on the fence about if you want to watch it on Apple Plus, just check out our coverage of the first episode and then jump in. But I'm telling you, it's fun. You'll like it. You'll definitely like it. It's not a waste of time. And yeah, we'll be back for the season finale next week. All right. Anything else you want to say?
No, that's covers everything. Thank you, guys.
All right. Yep. Thank you. All right, peace, everybody. Thank you. We hit 100. Yeah.
100. Let's go.